Hey, welcome.
What's going on?
Hey, not much. Welcome to the New York Nerd Show. AllThatPat and Lord Cash. Here it is. We are on Slam Nation. How's it going?
Man, I feel like we've been here recently within like the last 24 hours. We were broadcasting. Was it am I dreaming or anything like that, or did that actually happen?
I don't know. If it was a dream, it is a dream come true.
Oh, that's so nice.
I was a little thrown off at the beginning because the screen disappeared on my side, showing the super technological professionalism. That's why I was like, where'd it go? But I see you.
Yeah, no, we did a little special preview yesterday for the WWE pay-per-view Fastlane yesterday, and so we gave our predictions out. There was 7 matches that we were aware of, though they threw another one in there as a bonus match, and so we gave our predictions, and we'll see how we fare tonight.
I think that I did fantastic. I'm pretty confident that I went 0 for 7, but you know, playing golf score.
You got a perfect score.
Yeah,
just not in maybe the right way.
No, there were a couple definite things that were disappointing last night, but I guess overall, would you give this show like a thumbs up, thumbs down, somewhere in the middle?
On a scale of 1 to 10 bells, like I'm trying to do like the little ringy dingy bells.
Whistles, no.
Comedy goes woo. I will give it probably about 6, maybe 7 turnbuckles.
Interesting. So out of that many bells, it gets turnbuckles.
Yeah, I changed up my scoring system midway.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, you know, that'd be kind of confusing to the audience. You know, funny enough, I know it's kind of like almost like a cop-out answer, but I would agree with you though. I do think it's around that 6-7 point. There's some really good matches last night. I mean, as we're talking about, we'll talk about the Sheamus McIntyre hardcore match, whatever, the no holds barred, fantastic. And the main event with Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, very solid too. So there weren't really any stinkers. Well, no, there's gonna be one stinker actually. Sure. But yeah, we'll get into that for sure. We started off with the kickoff show, and I think that, you know, Lord Cash, we did have a little conversation yesterday that we were going to start kind of like a challenge, like a trophy challenge, is who gets the best predictions right. And you got on the board first with this one because Riddle fought Ali for the U.S. title, and
well, technically, so as far as the this match, you know, as we mentioned, it was the kickoff show. Neither one of us got this one because we both voted for Ali to get the belt.
Oh, that's right. You did actually. You went for that. So go ahead.
I did say it was like a 55%.
That's what it was.
But I did vote, you know, if I had to bubble in, you know, the answer on the Scantron sheet, I would have bubbled Ali as the winner, and I would have gotten marked wrong.
So it would be a bubbly?
Yes.
Bubbly.
Okay. However, in the grand scheme, you know, this match was halfway decent. Mustafa Ali came out there, really had a good match with Riddle as far as I'm concerned. Just the end of the match necessarily did not go the way that Mustafa Ali wanted. Unfortunately, he did lose the match, and Riddle did keep the belt. But I'm giving myself free reign to this is almost like, you know, Whose Line Is It Anywhere, where I can give out points for whatever, you know, this match for 10,000 points or whatever. I did award you a point,
yes,
because you did say the breakup of Retribution.
I did, and Lord knows that happened. That happened
so,
after the match.
After the match, you know, Ali was not happy with anybody. Reckoning walks out, Slapjack walks out, and starts yelling at Mace and T-Bar They didn't like it, and they just gave a double choke slam right onto the ground. And so I don't think Retribution is going to be around for very much longer, if at all.
I would agree. And just I want to give a shout out to the finish of that match though, where Riddle hit the Bro Derek off the top rope. What a great way to end a nice feud between these guys. Definitely cemented it. However, yeah, I do anticipate that the faction is finished and Retribution. I was going to wear a little armband tonight, but it was too much work.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine that tonight on Raw, you're going to actually see the members of Retribution walk out in solidarity and literally just come out and take their masks off and officially say who they are. It's like the worst kept secret in wrestling. But you will see Dominic Dijakovic, Shane Thorne is Flapjack or Slapjack. Mia Yim was Reckoning. And I honestly can never remember the guy's name that is with the long dreads that plays Mace. But I imagine they're going to come out and say something like that. And then some of them, they might go their separate ways, or they might even just make a tag team out of them, which would be kind of weird. But I still do predict. I'm sticking to my prediction, though. Should that segment happen tonight, I think Mustafa Ali will come out. He'll interrupt it with a new guy. I still think that that's in the cards.
So basically, we're going to go from 5 members down to only 2.
Hey, skim off the fat. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily need all those people. All
right. Well, I'm writing you down for a new member of Retribution.
Put me down for that.
Excellent. Like I said, I make up the scores, so we'll see what happens.
Look, I was thinking about this today too. Once this group dissolved, can you think of any other factions in the WWE that were like worse than Retribution?
And how are you basing the gauge off of?
So I'm glad you asked that. Because my initial instinct was the Core. Do you remember the Core?
The Core.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the answer that you might be thinking of.
It's that splinter group from the Nexus, and it had Wade Barrett, Ezekiel Jackson, Justin Gabriel, and Heath Slater.
Okay. I vaguely remember that.
It just like you said, though, that's the whole point. So my initial thought was them, because I thought they were so lame back in the day. And the thing was, though, I'm going to share this little picture because I'm like, oh, these guys sucked. But apparently, they had belts. So if you take a look at this right here, for a little reminder of who the Core were, but you have Heath Slater, Barrett, again, Ezekiel Jackson, and Justin Gabriel. 3 of them had belts. So I guess they weren't that bad, but they were just so stupid. I remember the theme song, and they didn't last for very long because I remember Ezekiel Jackson had a blow up with Wade Barrett. That was pretty much it.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Especially that this group has only been around for maybe less than 18 months.
Right.
I don't know exactly when they made their official on-screen debut. I know as the leader of Retribution, there was the cyber, messages that were being sent out. And I'm wondering how much with the pandemic and COVID-19, how much that kind of squashed that gimmick that they were doing, and they just kind of had to get them on screen or something. But I don't know. It's hard to say because every sort of faction stable that I'm thinking of at least has been around for a while, or even as the Core, they held belts. So I don't know. I'll go Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean,
that'll be my cop-out stable.
I think you typically have to have 3 or 2, but I'll still give the points because, yeah, these 2 have been kind of booked very oddly. And we saw last night, it didn't change. They kept getting, booked strange. And I think that we have a very clear direction that they're going right now between the Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair match going into WrestleMania.
Yep.
I was pretty surprised, quite honestly, that I don't know. I'm not super surprised, but basically they're going with Sasha Banks is now going as the heel. Apparently, the bad guy. This guy say right now, Gizmo, one of the stars of Slam Nation Wrestling, he is like whimpering over here and trying to climb right behind me. So if I see him a little distracted, blame the dog.
It goes for homework and distraction during streaming. It's all I get it.
So in this match, like it went back and forth. And it was typical. I mean, nothing outstanding stood out. But they're all four capable performers. If you want to also include Reginald, basically, it looked like Sasha Banks and Bianca were going to win. And they even gave a little hint again. They mentioned the whole idea that John Cena and Shawn Michaels had a very similar program going into their WrestleMania match at 23. Both came in as the tag champs. Because they kept pushing that on the commentary, I'm like, they're doing it. They're going to win the belts. And I believe, Lord Cash, you and I both predicted them to walk away with the belts on the show yesterday.
We did. And unfortunately, we did not get any points on that one because I don't remember if we said anything else. But yeah, no, I don't even think we even mentioned Reginald as a part of a factor.
No, you and I basically had a similar predictions that they would win the belts last night, and then they would do a double duty at WrestleMania. Like one night they defend the tag titles, and the other night they would defend the world title with with Nia and Shayna. Ended up blowing up and fighting one-on-one at Mania. That was kind of like where we were going with it, and we couldn't have been more wrong.
Yep. So they are still your women's tag team champion, which there was a little bit of a disagreement there that they had, though I feel that Sasha and Bianca definitely had more of the fireworks. Definitely Sasha, with the slap to the face to Bianca, that definitely sent her over to that heel approach going up against Bianca for WrestleMania. So it's going to be interesting to see what the next 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks play out exactly how much they're going to build that up leading into their WrestleMania match.
Yeah, exactly. We have to see a lot. I mean, what did we say yesterday? There's 3 more weeks, so they got some time to kind of continue to push it. At least these two have already been working for the last month and a half, 2 months. So it's not like a surprise emergency booking, so that's not. So they're going to have plenty of stuff to go with at Mania. But what do you think though? Night 1 or night 2? Or doesn't matter.
So I feel like that's going to be a wager that we're going to have. Which nights are going to get which matches. Let's see, because she is the Royal Rumble winner for the women, I have a feeling she will be the main event for Saturday night. That is my prediction. I unfortunately, I don't think they're going to give her main billing on Sunday nights, because I think that's going to be the Edge match. But I don't think they're going to have both. I know they might have both Royal Rumble winners in the same night, but I would think that they would want to have there's going to happen on Saturday night is my prediction right now.
Yeah, I would imagine one of the women's titles will do a main event. Although, as you'll see later in our show, I've got another theory as to what match will be actually main eventing both nights. One night, we'll see. But in the chat over there, if you guys have a thought, though, will either of the women's championship be defended as a main event? Let us know. Be curious which one, if any.
All right.
So
I'm taking notes just so you are aware.
Oh, absolutely. I'm used to that. As a teacher by trade, I have to take notes all the time. Now,
cool.
Up next, we had the WWE Intercontinental Championship match between Apollo and Big E.
I'm sorry, isn't it Apollo?
Yeah. It's funny. Like, I like his new music, but I actually liked his old music too. So I was kind of, but this fits him more better for the new feud. Man, no surprise. But Big E whooped this guy for like at least 2 minutes. He was just smacking the snot out of him. He did his diving spear. He did that like slam in the big splash on the corner like at least 3 times.
Yeah.
Threw him around the ring. But then Apollo got the buzz. He had talked to Paul Heyman about 2 months ago, and Heyman apparently is the secret to Suplex City because he started throwing out Big E with German suplexes as if he was Lesnar.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Yeah, just Big E came out there and did not take any nonsense from Big E. I'm sorry, from Apollo. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of controversy in this. Even I was kind of like what just happened with the kind of the roll up to the pin, and the ref, counted Big E as the winner 1, 2, 3. Because I wasn't even certain who won when it happened. How did you feel about that?
Honestly, yeah, I was really getting into the match, and I was, just as Apollo was starting to make a bit of a comeback, because this might have been like a squash match, the way that Big E was like lighting him up. But yeah, it basically ended up all of a sudden, yeah, you had that like kerfuffle at the end, and I don't know if they messed it up because that neither one of us have the luxury of being in the WWE or being in any kind of like production meeting, but it just did not seem like it was correct. It was like a very weird, yeah, like a screwed up roll up. And I'm wondering if they just had to do something to get out of booking a WrestleMania match too soon, because neither guy's going to look bad. Like they both were very strong throughout the match. So I'm just assuming they're just kind of like, let's just do something, get out of here. No one's going to remember it. And then at WrestleMania, we'll have the real match.
Right. It's a possibility.
This was definitely a thumbs down for me, though.
Yeah, this definitely did not set right with everything that happened. Just because, again, it's one thing to have to have interference and have a bad call, this or that, or someone gets a 1, 2, 3, and they don't realize that their legs outside of the under the ropes or on the ropes or something of that nature that the ref just didn't see, but they just didn't feel like it was supposed to end. So we'll have to see what talks about on Friday night. I'm sure Apollo's going to have to say something about it, and just kind of see what storyline they go with leading up to WrestleMania.
Yeah, agreed. I think that, and once again, just like the women's match prior, yeah, I think SmackDown's going to be the key. But what do you guys have thoughts about this IC title match, which happened last night, or where it's going to go as we head into WrestleMania in 3 weeks? Throw it in the chat. What did you think of Fastlane? No.
I think I will give it like 6 or 7 turnbuckles.
Sounds familiar.
I know. Now, of the matches that we were aware of, I believe the next one, they mentioned it, but I thought it was supposed to be for kind of WrestleMania.
They were dancing back and forth with this. It was very confusing. They announced it, then they pulled it back, then they announced it, and then last night, Shane went lame, and he ended up having a fake injury.
Yeah, well, originally it was supposed to be Shane McMahon going up against Braun Strowman, but then he pulled. He got injured and had Elias come out to the ring with him because he was like, "I really want to do something for WrestleMania. I want to be able to, maybe perform out there." And he's like, "Well, let's go out to the ring and let's see what you can do for me." And then, of course, right as he's about to start singing and doing his musical performance, he goes, "Oh, by the way, you're taking my place now." And so now it's Elias versus Braun Strowman. Go
ahead.
No, I just and he really was not too happy with that.
Yeah, I think Elias has been interrupted more times in his career than he's actually played a song.
Yeah.
It's like pretty much a guarantee. Did you notice Shane McMahon's t-shirt?
Yes, the Stupid Express.
Yeah. And if you guys have been watching for a long time, he has often worn like a parody shirt of his opponent. And I just pulled this one up. This goes back to WrestleMania 16 or 15 when he was feuding with X-Pac. And he made a whole thing. He made a really stupid, like a very basic parody shirt of that. I think he did it with the Big Show as well. So yeah, you get your X-Punk shirt. That's the first thing I thought of with the Strowman, the Stupid Express last night.
Yeah, it's like it kind of goes in line with the I am not the Intercontinental Champion anymore.
I love those shirts though. the I am the Intercontinental Champion.
I'm not the Intercontinental Champion.
I can imagine that those are just the basic one though. It's the simplest thing to make, and I bet you they actually sell pretty well.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, Braun Strowman did whoop up on poor Elias there. So hopefully, I would imagine Shane McMahon is going to heal up within the next couple weeks, and will most likely go one-on-one against Braun Strowman at WrestleMania.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean, it's Shane delivers. There's no getting around that. And I guess if I withdraw from the situation of trying to be intelligent in the wrestling business, where my mind is like, give Elias a real match or give somebody else a real match, bottom line is Shane will deliver. It'll be a good match. Hopefully Braun wins. What I find the most interesting about this is, I think, was it this past week when he dumped the paint on him?
Yeah, that was last Monday.
So you have Shane McMahon, regardless of age, just as a character, he's never been dominant, in his whole career. Braun Strowman, he's been booked over the years as like, you have 6 guys can't keep him down. The dude flips ambulances. Yet 51-year-old Shane McMahon pours Nickelodeon slime on him. Oh boy, he can't get up.
Well, in his defense, he did just get bashed in the face with a production camera.
But he's been hit by an ambulance. He's gotten hit by cars.
I don't know if he's actually been hit by an ambulance or a car. I know he's flipped them and held them back, but I don't think he's actually been hit by them.
I guess I'll agree until we go back to the footage.
We'll have to check the footage.
Yes.
But yeah, no, as he's coming around, he's doing this little around the ring, and he comes around that post, and then Shane McMahon grabs the camera off the guy and just slams him in the face with it. Those production cameras are heavy because they are very thick. Those usually have, if they're battery packed, those batteries are in itself weigh a good 5 to 10 pounds. So yeah, that would really hurt. And I kind of see it, smashed all over the place, but I don't know.
Just mentioning the production, aspect of things that that would actually lead pretty well for those of you that know. Lord Cash had the opportunity to join the Thunderdome last night. We've been trying for a while, and you actually got to go and be a part of it. Can you speak to what was it like being in the Thunderdome?
Yeah, so when I first joined the Thunderdome, I unfortunately did not make it in. They apparently were already full, but I was able to try again, refresh, and I was able to get in. And basically, in the bottom left-hand corner, you've got your camera view, and there's a little, body silhouette that they want you to kind of be in, so that way you're make sure you're in frame. And so with that, it was kind of cool seeing all the, you've got the producer in the back going, all right, so the, Braun Strowman's coming out, a big pop for him. Here comes Shane McMahon, big boos. We don't like him. So various things of that, if during this match, okay, we want to have let's hear those Big E chants, let's go Big E, let's go Big E, various things like that. And so at one point during the match, I actually did make it onto screen. AllThatPat had to show it to me. So I've got this image right here. You can kind of
famous.
That is me back behind during the part where Sheamus and Drew McIntyre were on the table right before I think Sheamus hit the white noise. But that is me right there. So I've made it to a pay-per-view now. I can say I was in the Fastlane pay-per-view.
Yeah, and I know I'd been on it earlier too, though, just talking about how they're telling you to boo and to cheer. And I think I don't know if I said this in a previous episode, but the biggest thing I take away from is either the Daniel Bryan moment where they had me doing the yes all the way through commercial breaks twice, or when Lars Sullivan, who has been released a couple weeks ago, he made a surprise return and they said it over the thing to us to get ready. Like, get ready, Lars Sullivan's coming out in 3. And I'm like, wait, Lars Sullivan's been gone for a year. So I'm like, apparently there's a spoiler. But yeah, it is a pretty cool experience. So just having people talk to you in the ear, give you the feedback, what they're expecting. And,
yeah,
yeah, it's pretty interesting. But yeah, I'm so glad that I was actually able to see you on there because I was watching it all night and my feed cut out for a little bit. And so I went back to watch the Sheamus match and I'm like, there he is.
Yeah, I didn't even see myself. So I was again. You saw how far away back that was. So good eyes on you.
You had the cheap seats.
Yeah, I had the cheap. Well, again, typically when I go to a pay per view, that's usually where I'm buying anyway. So it makes sense.
So this next match that we see, though, it was one that I was definitely looking forward to. And it played into like an overall story going into WrestleMania as well. But it was Shinsuke not. Well, actually, did you have the Matt Riddle thing coming up? I don't know if that's on there or not.
I don't.
Well, it was just a really quick backstage segment where Matt Riddle was like on his stallion, his little scooter. And he was giving Shinsuke some advice before he went out for his match. And he's talking to him, and they zoom in on Riddle's face. And if I saw this coming a mile away once they did that. He just keeps rambling on, and then to pull away, and Shinsuke's hiding behind a corner so he doesn't have to talk to Riddle anymore.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Shinsuke comes out to fight Seth Rollins. Definitely a fantastic match. Both guys were able to deliver, and last night was no different. It's funny because he was just wearing like regular ring gear, but I think we talked about the other day. Seth Rollins is like on top of his game, not just wrestling, but with his like his suits. Like even Bitter Ritz made a comment of that recently. But that's a weird picture. I don't even want to know. It's ridiculous.
It's like I get these photos and I'm just looking at them going like. Usually, I love the photos with the refs in the background. They're going.
Yeah, like flinching. Yeah,
I love those. Like seriously, I just want to keep a collage of just the refs' reactions. But yeah, that one was one. Every now and then you get one where the superstars are just like don't even know what's going on there.
Right. Great match. I find it interesting that so there's 3 matches that I would say would be considered for match of the night. This one was one of them. However, the match that goes on after this, I think, just blew it out of the water, just in my opinion.
Yeah.
But strong match. I think it could have gone either way, but I feel it was pretty obvious that Seth was going to win, and he did. Interestingly enough, I feel that there was almost, if no, mention of Cesaro in this, in the sense of like they didn't show him backstage, looking at the screen, although I guess he was convalescing or whatever because he got injured with a stomp, which nobody gets injured by that. But
well, he got hit with 3 of them.
That is true. Brock got hit with 3 and he kicked out.
Yeah. So it's I'm gonna call shenanigans on you a little bit because this was the first match that we predicted yesterday.
It was,
and it was you went with Shinsuke.
Well, I went with Shinsuke because I just thought that I thought Cesaro would come out. I believe we might have to go back to the tape.
We do have that at our disposal.
Yeah, and I think that might be one of those things where it could have gone either way. But I think that because Cesaro didn't come out, I'm just retracting my statement. I was actually talking to one of our viewers. Yeah, I'm walking it back.
Back a little bit.
I was talking to one of our viewers, a friend of mine, Mark. And he even pointed out today, he's like, you flip-flopped your Daniel Bryan prediction like 3 times last episode. And I'm like, I just think about all the angles we could attacking from.
I am my own devil's advocate.
Yes, exactly. I can't make decisions.
It's my Gemini personality. I think on both sides.
There you go.
So
now, just out of curiosity, everybody, if you had a thought, just throw it in the chat. What was the match in the night from last night for you? Because again, the Shinsuke match could have been, but there were a couple others that were like really good, including this next one, which was incredibly ridiculously violent. We had the rubber match between Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, which again, Lord Cash had a ringside seat, a little bit high, but he was there. Did you notice? I feel so bad with Drew McIntyre. I feel that every time he puts that sword in, it goes wonky, and just yeah, exactly.
He pushes it down too hard, and it just like goes. Wah!
He's too pumped. But what did you think about the Braveheart face paint?
I liked it. It was again gave him a little extra character to his persona coming out and fighting the Irishman. So I don't know if very William Wallace coming out with the colors, but I dug it. We've grown up watching Jeff Hardy wearing face paint, so why not? Finn Balor coming out as the Demon, got face paint on, so why not? The Scottish Warrior coming out with face paint on. I liked it.
Well, and like you said, the Warrior, he was going to war in this match. Like this was ridiculous. I liked the opening video package too, though, where they went over like the 10-year history that these guys had in WWE. Like, it's nice when they can do that and actually be telling the truth. Like the pictures of them were like, both of them were complete baby faces in a sense of like just no hair on their face. Like, in the indies back in like over in, other countries, it was cool. Like just to lead us to this and one heck of a match.
Yeah, it was extremely brutal. They went up inside the Thunderdome to where all the screens were. I wanted to get the little video file of Drew throwing Sheamus through the backside of it and the sparks flying and everything, but they didn't have that available for me. But yeah, it was pretty brutal all over the place. But yeah.
I wonder, like professional wrestlers are known to sell, they basically, even though wrestling hurts, they typically like make it look like it hurts even more. Right after this moment, though, when he got thrown through the production area with the sparks, Sheamus was limping bad. Like I don't think I see like wrestlers that kind of like they have like the acting limp. He was like barely able to move. Like it looked like his the back of his leg was like killing him. I don't know if he got a cut. I don't know if that's where like the back of your quad is. I don't know if he just had a hemorrhoid. I have no idea. Bad visual there, but just the idea of like he looked very hurt. So that made me surprised that as we'll talk about near the end of the show, he's actually booked in a match tonight on Raw with Lashley. So I thought that Sheamus was gonna be out for a little bit after this match because again he got really banged up, but crazy match, and it ended with the what you call it? It ended up with the Claymore kick, just to kind of put it over, but. Wonderful match. No, did it? Yeah, it did. He hit the Claymore kick after doing the Future Shock DDT on the piece of the table.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Lord Cash, was that of the 3 matches they've had recently? I mean, they've had a bunch, but they had the one where they got both knocked out by the stairs. That was last week or the week before. Then they had the match where Sheamus actually lost. It was like an hour, like a 40-minute match. It went through multiple commercials on Raw. What do you think? Like, does this stand up? Was this the best match? Or, where would you put that?
I definitely would put this as the better of the 3 matches. It had a decent resolve. There was, there was brutal fighting because again, it was a no holds. So yeah, they came out and brought it. So there was no taking it easy on either one of them. Getting kendo sticks, slapped on the back, going through the announcer table, going up into the Thunderdome, onto the hard flooring of the Thunderdome itself. I'm surprised it actually did not go backstage.
Right.
But yeah, no, it was. I definitely do think that this is and I don't know if it's just because it's fresher in my mind, but I definitely do think this is probably the better of the 3.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree. I'm almost thinking, like, I'm wondering if after WrestleMania, not to do like the too far in the future, but that's just where I go. I could see McIntyre coming up short at Mania, And then this might be ended up like almost like a new version of the Bar, where him and Sheamus actually do become a legitimate tag team going forward because of a mutual respect. Because I almost was feeling that last night because Sheamus was kind of like rolled up like this, and Mac just kept looking at him. I was almost expecting like a little bit of a fist bump, but we didn't get that yet.
Yeah, we haven't got the bro hug yet.
Yes.
So I'm curious to see what's going to happen at WrestleMania. Obviously, Drew's going to be going up against Lashley for the title, but we'll see what happens if something does happen with it becoming a three-way match, or if it I don't know.
Yeah, I would imagine like Sheamus end up in the Battle Royal or something, but we'll see. Like I said, that's why I thought he was injured, but apparently he's not.
Yeah, and it looked like even Drew McIntyre had a hard time standing up after the match. Like his back was really hurting.
Oh, I'm sure that when they went to bed last night, they probably did not want to get up in the morning.
Yeah. So, well, speaking of someone who woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning,
something like that.
We had the Alexa Bliss going up against Randy Orton. Yeah.
I mean, storyline wise, that's a great capture right there. Yeah, I mean, obviously this has been building for a couple months now. I mean, Orton and The Fiend had a feud dating back to November. And then December when he lit him on fire, burned him alive, which was ludicrous in itself. And then, Alexa took on this new persona of just being like this evil, crazy competitor. And who would have guessed they actually fought one-on-one last night? And, Alexa Bliss brought it, tried to light him on fire again. He had the looking, he got dropped. The lighting structure got dropped on his head. Well,
yeah, there's a picture of the truss falling down.
Would that be a truss fall?
It could be a trust exercise.
Yes.
But yeah, basically, he would try to attack, and she would do something to roll out of the way or kind of taunt him over somewhere, and then have like something fall on him or have a fire explode in his face. So definitely playing games with Randy Orton.
Oh, absolutely. Now up to this point, right? What did you think? Just like this whole this back and forth as far as
I was just wondering where they were going to go with this. I was going with some of your predictions about possibly the Alter Randy, coming out, and
I was hoping.
Yeah, I was rooting for it. But some sort of something of that nature, or maybe another crony part of the fun house to come out.
You wanted a life-size Huskus pig, right?
I did. I really did.
Chocolate.
But unfortunately, that's not what we got. So it was just story-wise, how are they going to actually maneuver this? Because I did not think that Randy was going to pin Alexis. I did not think that was going to happen.
No.
So we had to figure out some way for Alexa to actually get the pin on Randy. And so we were definitely in for a little bit of a surprise as to how things played out.
Yeah, it's funny because I had all these thoughts as to what Bray Wyatt would look like whenever he made his return. And for some reason, I was pitching a rebirth, an actual new look as far as he just comes back to life as something different. But no, instead, he comes back like a roasted s'more. They had some pretty good up closes of his hand. I mean, he was melted like Freddy Krueger. And the dude looks toasty. He is completely melted.
Yeah, it makes you kind of look at somebody and go, "What did you do, Ray?"
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. It reminds you of the time at the camp or whatever. Yeah. He was definitely Stay Puft. You know, I don't know. I like the mask. I think the mask looks pretty cool, and it's definitely a new look at him. He's straight up zombie like, which I want to know what this gimmick is going to look like in the lights.
Right.
Um, but I don't know. I kind of like I like the outfit. It was disappointing only because I was expecting something different. But for what they went with, I mean, it looks good. I think that it looks like convincing that the one eye is all whited out now. And it's not. It's like it looks like his mask would have been melted, which I think was good. The bodysuit itself, I can't see it yet. I can't quite see like how his regular gear would have turned into that.
Right.
But I don't know. You seem like you're a little bit more apprehensive on it.
Well, it's just so it wasn't what we were thinking of with holding off the Fiend until WrestleMania.
True.
So he's back. Now see, here's where I did give myself an extra point.
Oh boy.
On this one. So we both predicted Alexa was going to win, but I did say Alexa via Fiend.
Okay. Yep. You did.
So with that, I'm giving myself an extra point on that one. So this is now actually going to give us time to allow them to build the storyline. Not that it necessarily needs a lot.
Yeah, they've been doing this for months.
This has been a long-standing feud between these two. But now his physical presence is here, so that way, we're going to see if the Fiend actually talks, or if Alexa's going to be, the voice of the Fiend for a while.
Right.
Because she's had his voice, so why not? I'm just imagining, the Fiend talking with Alexa's voice. I don't know how that would be as menacing.
Here's the question to Lord Cash. When they compete at WrestleMania, which is where they're going, I'm positive.
Yep.
Is it going to be a straight up match, or is it going to be like another one of those cinematic matches that they really got into last year?
It seems like pretty much all of his pay-per-view matches for the Fiend have been, and even Bray Wyatt, the last of them have really been theatrical. Whether it was the one with John Cena, Braun Strowman, the Randy Orton Fire Inferno match, had a bit of theatrics to it.
Right.
So I have a feeling it is. I almost wonder, like, if you lose, you have to take off your mask or something. I'm wondering if he's going to even say something like that, if they're going to acknowledge that it's a mask, or if it's just, that way they find out that the Fiend is actually Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, no, that would be interesting. I mean, what I was thinking about too is Orton and Wyatt actually had a cinematic match as well, like, I don't know, 3 years ago when it was in the Wyatt house.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've already gone down that route before, but I do think it's going to be cinematic as well. And I wonder what the stakes would be. I think it'd have been really cool, and they already blew it. But at the same time, they know what they're doing, But I was anticipating, yeah. I mean, imagine if this was one of those things where they had the Mania match set up. Orton comes out, they've never seen the Fiend. The whole idea is he's like, come on, let's do it. And then all of a sudden they do the same return. He comes up from the ring, does the whole thing, and just like the Fiend just destroys him, pins him. No offense from Orton at all, and the Fiend just goes away.
Yeah.
But either way, it was definitely memorable. I don't think we're going to forget that for sure. So another memorable match, another thing that we half got right, like you said, but we didn't really 100% call it. You did say by the Fiend. I don't think that either one of us expected to see him quite in this nature, though.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know exactly what my thoughts were when I made that prediction, whether or not it was going to be, through a video package. But I don't know.
So we ended up coming up to our main event next. Now, the main event was Daniel Bryan going one-on-one with Roman Reigns, with Edge being as a special enforcer. Very solid match. Now, I was surprised because I know they named him as the enforcer, but I still thought that Edge would be the actual referee throughout. It was kind of odd that he wasn't.
No, just because he was the special enforcer, not the special guest referee.
No, I know, but like if you think so, okay, it's a main event match, right? So if you're watching, you probably could have guessed what was going to happen. The referee gets knocked out at one point. By definition, if that referee had never gotten knocked out, Edge would have just kept standing there like that the whole time, stewing. Because the only reason why he came in is because there was no ref.
Well, and he was also there to make sure that Jey Uso didn't get involved.
Right. And Jey only comes out when the ref's out. I thought it was kind of like you had to have like a chain of events, so to speak.
Yeah.
But what were your thoughts on the overall match? Because personally, I thought it was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. This is probably the number 2 match for me of the evening. Daniel Bryan gave it his all. There was lots of times that, I kind of thought that Daniel Bryan was actually going to win.
And he did.
He technically did, but unfortunately, Edge did not see him because he made him tap.
And so unfortunately, a huge thing going forward.
Yeah. It just unfortunately did not count towards the actual match because again, it wasn't seen by the ref or by Edge as the special enforcer. But no, I enjoyed it. What were your thoughts on it?
I thought it delivered in every way it needed to. Just in the action itself, I thought it was great. I loved Bryan putting him in all these different holds. And when he got him in the yes lock, it looked brutal. Like he had his elbow completely, his shoulder all the way backwards. I'm like, I would tap out. I mean, there's no way.
Yeah.
But what I liked as it came out of this is I predicted Bryan might win, but they booked it in a way that he came out as the winner. And personally, I'm happy that it looks like Edge is back to being a heel. I think that ever since he went rated R superstar like about 15 years ago, I think that Edge should never look back. Because you were a huge fan of Edge back in the day when he was like the Edge head, and I think he was great as a good guy. But it's just like right here, I think that by the end, like he's saying like this was supposed to be mine. Like he got like really angry and he stormed off after like basically destroying Daniel Bryan and Reigns with the chair.
Yeah.
So I think that adds a new tweak to the feud as well. And I'm going to be talking about that in just a moment as where I'm thinking how I see it, where this is going to go forward. But right here, you see Roman Reigns does do the tap, but he's able to hold out and he ends up winning by hook or by crook in many ways because there's a lot of interference that went into the tribal chief's favor.
Yes.
So it's time.
Let's do it.
Theme song.
I'll have to work on that.
All right. So it's a brand new segment. I'm going to go ahead and put it. Here we go. We'll get it more smooth next time. The way I see it. I always have some like really weird predictions. That's why I see how things are going to be booked long term. So as we're going into WrestleMania, I do think it's very clear, at least to me. How I see it, we're going to have a 3-way. Edge, Roman Reigns, and Daniel Bryan competing for the Universal Championship. Now, my thought is that this is going to be on night 1. And this is why. Here we go. It's going to be a fantastic back and forth match. You know, a lot of different things are going to happen. But ultimately, Roman Reigns is going to, oh, spoiler alert. Roman Reigns is going to basically take out Edge, which is going to lead an opportunity for Roman Reigns to get tapped out by Daniel Bryan. With Edge not getting beaten and not having the opportunity to basically make good on his 10-year career return, basically. Now, I say it's going to be on night 1 because I really do expect Daniel Bryan in a backstage segment to actually give Cesaro a chance to win the world title, because they've already built over the last couple months that there is a lot of respect there. And Daniel Bryan was defeated by Cesaro many times. I could just genuinely see him giving him a shot at the next night on WrestleMania. Now, again, might be out there. That's just what I'm thinking. It'd be a great moment for this, the fans, really, because, again, they want Cesaro in a main event match for a very long time. So, night 2, at some point during the card, you have an epic match, with two of the best wrestling technicians in the company or even in the industry right now, back and forth. And hope you guys notice the little things on there. Michael Coles, he wants next. So you're going to have this big back and forth match. And ultimately, we are going to see Cesaro grab the brass ring and walk away with the Universal Championship. Daniel Bryan doesn't really need it. Now, coming out of WrestleMania, you've got a couple things going on. First, Edge and Daniel Bryan have a really already pre-made program because Edge did not get beaten by Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan basically ruined his comeback. I could see a concerto leading to a match coming up at Backlash, whatever the following show is. The big dog, the tribal chief, the head of the table, he has an automatic rematch clause. It just happens to be with Cesaro driving the car. I think we have 2 main event matches coming out of it as we go on to the next pay-per-view following WrestleMania.
Which I believe is going to be Money in the Bank.
Really? Go right into Money in the Bank. Okay.
So, yeah, I think it's Money in the Bank, then Backlash, before you get to Extreme Rules and SummerSlam.
Gotcha. What are your thoughts about that long-term booking that I'm pulling out of my ears?
Right. So the things that I'm looking at under the microscope would mean for your thought and theory to actually pan out. One, that would mean, when this is not necessarily a big one, it's just all about booking, is the Seth Rollins Cesaro match would have to be on Saturday.
Absolutely. And I think Cesaro is going to beat him, which will also put him in a good position to get that opportunity.
And that would have to be the second one, which, would be if Cesaro actually were to beat Seth Rollins, then that would need to happen in order for him to be in that title picture contendership.
Right.
So that's kind of the 2 things that I see there. I'm wondering, because I know last year Edge made his big debut, his big return at Royal Rumble.
Correct. Yep.
Then we really didn't see him until WrestleMania. Or no, did we get him at Fastlane last year? Because I know he had a match against Randy.
Mania fought Randy in that all over the place match.
The greatest wrestler?
Yeah. No, that was after that.
Was that at Mania, or was that at another match, another pay-per-view?
I think the Mania match was Falls Count Anywhere.
And that Edge won, right? Or did Randy win that one?
No, Edge won because he knocked out Randy Orton on top of a pickup truck, the truck. And then at the May pay-per-view, they had the greatest match ever. And I believe Edge got hurt during that match, which is what put him out, for the foreseeable future. I don't believe that Edge had a match, but it could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm just wondering exactly what is his contract this time around, or is he still kind of on that original one where he's got so many matches, so many appearances that he has to fulfill in his contract. So with that being said, how much more are we going to see him outside of WrestleMania? Are we actually going to see him, at these other pay-per-views afterwards, or is it going to be, he's kind of, I don't want to say one and done, because it's if he wins the title, obviously he's going to be around for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But according to your theory, he's not going to win, which means, does he just sneak away back into the shadows? Because again, he's still a family man with doing dad duties at home, while Beth is usually doing stuff with NXT. So it's like, how are they, obviously that they're going to be able to figure out that family dynamic, so they can figure this out. But that's kind of stuff I look at, kind of the behind the scenes stuff. On a scale, like if I were to say, how much money would I actually bet that plays out this way? $50 is like as high as I would care to wager.
Out of like $1 million?
Yeah. I'm gonna say like out of my bank account. that if this were to actually not pan out and be nowhere near right, as long as you got at least I don't know how many bullet points we got on this, but if at least 70 to 80% were to go through, I would make my money.
Right.
I would say I would be willing to wager $50. Anything out of that way, I would be very leery of losing my money. So
well, I'm hoping I'm right, but at the same time, it might just go like in a different direction. Like, but I just thought that'd be kind of fun.
I would definitely say this is the match that has a higher percentage of going to a triple threat versus the Raw title being a three-way between Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley.
Oh, absolutely. At this point, because I think you would have needed Sheamus to win last night, and I know tonight on Raw, they're going to be having a one-on-one match, Sheamus and Lashley, and I don't anticipate that we're going to get Sheamus involved unless he happens to pull out a victory against.
That's what I'm saying. Like if he pulls out a victory tonight, then that is a possible storyline.
Exactly.
So, but like I said, I do feel that of the main titles, that's the higher contender for being a triple threat.
Right. No, I would agree on that. We do have a lot of stuff going on with our Raw last night, or tonight. One thing I think that you and I, we just want to talk about actually is our boy, R-Truth. He won the title twice in the past week.
No. I'm not. I do not. He did not win the belt from Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny just gave it to him, which I think is a ridiculous thing.
I like it here.
He's like, you like this more than I do, so you just gave me the commemorative Stone Cold belt. So okay, fine. I don't need two belts. Here, you can have the 24/7 back. He just literally gave it to him, and I'm like, I know there's been storyline where, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, bought the belt off of someone. And I'm okay with that because it fits into his characteristic of that character. But just for Bad Bunny to go, yeah, okay, here you go.
I know. It's heavy on my shoulder. I'm tired of carrying it. Here you go.
And I understand that the reason why they did it is because, later that night he gets attacked by was it Elias or was it the Miz that attacked him?
Bad Bunny?
Yeah.
I believe it was Elias.
Okay.
But it's funny because those two, like, they're almost interchangeable nowadays because they're both kind of I think it was Elias though.
Yeah. Well, I know it was a guitar, so I didn't know if the Miz got the guitar from the Elias and Damian Priest episode match, and the guitar was just out there because I think he got hit by a guitar, right?
Yeah, he did. Like I said, I think they're all out there, and obviously, I think it's leading to the whole Miz, thing. But that might even turn to a 6-man. You never know with the Miz being involved with Elias and what have you. But my biggest complaint with it was he won his 50th championship on a fluke. Yeah. And then last night, he loses the belt to the Old Spice guy. What was going on?
Okay, hold up. You can't say the Old Spice guy because then I have to go, look at me. I'm on a horse. Look at your girlfriend. Look at me. Look at your boyfriend. Look at me. It's not that Old Spice guy. It's a Joe, what's his face? Joe regular guy.
Joe Normal, wasn't it?
something like that. So you got to be careful on how you describe who won the belt there.
Right.
And it was just a reach over. I'm picking up some, the deodorants from the Old Spice, and the ref goes 1, 2, 3.
That made me laugh. I'm not going to lie.
It did.
He started crawling. I'm like, he's just going to crawl over R-Truth, isn't he? And yes, he did.
So, but then of course, R-Truth did pin him back and got his baby back. So I guess he's now on number 51.
Yeah.
Which again, I got issues with, but whatever.
Yeah, they blew an opportunity with that 50, but he'll get to 100 by SummerSlam, and maybe they'll do something better with that run.
There you go. Maybe we'll get a commemorative belt by then.
Yes. The only other things that are going on, it's actually Raw is pretty loaded tonight. In addition to the Bobby Lashley Sheamus encounter, we're gonna actually have the women's champion Asuka just having a non-title match with Peyton Royce. I don't know. Did you see the interview with Peyton Royce had where she just basically got frustrated and was like basically about to quit almost?
Yeah, it was on Raw Talk last week.
Yeah.
So yeah, she pretty much kind of just laid it all out there. Is like, why am I not? I'm here. Every week I'm putting it all on the line. I'm giving 110%. Why am I not in a contendership? I should be. Yeah,
and I agree. I mean, it's like funny because like either as a real thing or it's just a storyline, it makes sense all the way around. Yeah. So you're gonna have a match between those two tonight, and I don't anticipate that Peyton's gonna win, but it might be a very competitive match that gains her like respect from Asuka and from fans alike.
Right. Definitely do stuff to build up her collateral, her persona.
Right.
So definitely.
We did also hear that tonight is going to be the official Raw brand debut of the Nightmare Rhea Ripley.
Yep.
If you have not been following Rhea Ripley during her years on NXT, in for a treat. As long as they push her well, she's really good. She's very solid in the ring. I can't remember where she's from exactly, if it's Australia or the UK. I can't even remember. But bottom line is she's really good in the ring, and I think that might lead to some clarity on who might be fighting for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania.
Yep.
Hint, it might be her.
Could be. And then we also do have The Miz going up against Jeff Hardy tonight. So we'll see how that plays out. I know they've kind of gone back and forth and with some possible matches here and there. And then the other match that we have is so last week, your boys, the New Day, they are now your new Raw Tag Team Champions. And with that, AJ Styles and Omos came out and challenged for the tag title belts at WrestleMania. So tonight we're going to have AJ Styles going on one-on-one with Kofi Kingston, I believe. So we'll see how those all play out. It should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be a great match between those two. They had a really nice encounter a couple weeks ago when they had the gauntlet match. So I think it was to give them to figure out who was going the last in the Elimination Chamber. So those guys can definitely go. Surprised, though, that the New Day won the tag titles 11 times. I didn't think they really needed it. And I thought the Hurt Business was hurt potentially by losing the belts. But at the end of the day, as long as they continue to have good matches, Hurt Business and New Day, I think everybody's going to be fine. It looks like it's going to be a pretty good episode of Raw. And if you guys are getting ready to watch Raw yourself right about now, it looks like they're actually starting with the Sheamus Bobby Lashley match. So we're going to hit the ground running for sure. And Sheamus is definitely all banged up right now. I'm just kind of glancing over. So, but with that being said, we always thank you all for joining us. The ability to share our show with people, the liking it, the subscribing, that gives you opportunity to know what's coming up, because we do a lot of shows scheduled. We also do a lot of shows that kind of just come up at various times as we're putting new content out. So again, continue to share that. It really does. We do appreciate that. In addition, we have some other shows, including our next round of I Stream, You Stream, which is on Thursday at 8 p.m. We're going to be taking a look at the first episode of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Crazy first episode. Already hitting the ground with from real big cliffhangers and questions and what ifs. And and we'll talk about it a little bit more. But Lord Cash, good episode, did you think?
Oh, I thought it was a great episode. Being that it's episode number 1, you've got to lay down all your storyline, your plot points. I kind of said right now it's the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
By episode 2 or 3, finally we'll get the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where their storylines will cross, and they will be, that co-workers that we've seen from the trailers.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see where it's going to go. Definitely left off on a big cliffhanger. So definitely, if you haven't watched it, go check it out. It's on Disney Plus. The first episode just dropped on Friday the 18th, and our first episode will be this Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday. And we'll definitely be covering episode number 1, titled New World Order.
Too sweet.
There you go.
One last thing, guys, is I've been talking to a lot of our viewers, and one of the most common questions is, oh, I missed it. I wish I could watch it. How can I watch it? Some people don't realize it, but not only are we live, all of our shows, whether it be Slam Nation Wrestling, whether it be iStream, Ustream, whether it be Call the Wild, any of them, you can watch all of them. You can watch them 5 minutes from now if you just can't get enough of our wonderful faces. You can watch them at any time. Just go through our YouTube channel, our Facebook channel, and you can go through the videos. Our Twitch channel, the videos stay on there for, I think, about a month. But YouTube and Facebook, they're on there, especially the YouTube. You can always go back, and you can see things all the way back from November. So don't forget that. But with that being said, Lord Cash, as always, a pleasure. All that Pat, you're a stud.
And Lord Cash, you're a muffin.
Love it. All right, everybody. Adios. Till next time.
Bye-bye now.